So do Kourtney and Travis have your blessing?
Keeping Up with the Kardashians is coming to an end, and we have our first look at their wild reunion special. Hey guys, welcome back to another Shared News from Home. We have got to talk about this Keeping Up reunion, but before we get into the details, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future updates. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring, and I'm joined by the wonderful Morgan Wright and Zachary Reality. You guys, I know we are all Kardashian fans. I know I have been dying for this reunion. How excited are you to have our first look, Morgan?
Oh my gosh. Well, none of us were expecting to see a teaser. I mean, surely we knew that one would come eventually, but when it dropped, it's like the world kind of stood still for a second. I think I watched it probably 50 times, whether it was on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. And we get so many explosive moments in the trailer. So I can't wait to actually see how it all plays out. Zach, I know you are just as excited.
100%, because I have been waiting for this reunion for a long time. The Kardashians don't do reunions every single season. They've been on for, 2 decades, but they don't always do reunions. So I'm glad that we're getting a final reunion, especially because, and I know you guys will agree with me, this season has been kind of slow. I don't know if it's because COVID or they're just over it, but the season's been slow. There hasn't been a lot of drama. So I'm glad that they're going to really put their all into this reunion and address everything that has happened for the past, 2 decades.
You guys, there is already so much to unpack just from the short teaser that we've got. There are so many clips, and it looks like they're really gonna go there with the questions. Let's go ahead and check out this first clip of the first ever Keeping Up with the Kardashians reunion, hosted, of course, by none other than Andy Cohen.
Welcome to a sit-down 20 seasons in the making.
I gotta be honest, my mom's a bit nervous. Totally.
Talk about all this.
So right off the bat, Kim Kardashian, nervous. I mean, he said 20 years in the making. I would be kind of freaking out myself. I mean, Zachary, how do you think they were feeling going into this conversation?
I know that they were very excited. I listened to Andy very closely on his radio show and on all of his other platforms. So he kind of gave us some insider tea about what the Kardashians were feeling. And I know that Kim and Khloé were especially very excited because they are, huge reality TV fans, especially Khloé. So I know that they were excited to kind of put this together. As far as the other Kardashians, I know Kris was very nervous. We all know how unbothered Kourtney is. And Kylie and Kendall really haven't shown up too much in the past couple of years on the show. So I know how excited Kim and Khloé were more than anyone to really put this thing together. And I know for a fact it's going to be so iconic.
Morgan, do you agree? Will it be iconic?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you factor in that Andy Cohen is the one doing it. He has decades of experience with housewives reunions. He knows what questions to ask. He knows when to ask them. He knows what the audience wants to see, what the audience wants to hear. So there is nobody better to be put in this situation to interview the Kardashians and ask the questions we all want to know the answers to, but I think anybody else would be too afraid to ask. So I cannot wait.
Yeah, they definitely hit the nail on the head with having Andy there. You guys, we can actually see him in action in this next clip, and it certainly seems like he's not going to disappoint.
First time ever, I'm grilling the Kardashian Jenners. Why is the show coming to an end?
We're all feeling a little overwhelmed. We had done it for so long.
So, okay, here's the thing. I love that question, why is the show coming to an end? And I hope all we hear from Kris there is, we've been doing it for so long, whatever. I hope he does push them on this because the show is coming to an end. But Morgan, as we know, there's already another show in the works with Hulu. So I feel like there is kind of a juicy answer here. I think Andy will go for it. What do you think?
No, absolutely. Like I said before, he knows what the viewers want to hear from them, the answers that we don't have questions to. And like you said, we all know that they already have another show in the works. We don't really know what it's gonna entail. Is it gonna be like a carbon copy of Keeping Up with the Kardashians just on Hulu? Are they literally just changing platforms to make more money? Like Andy Cohen would ask that question. So I'm hoping that he does. What do you think, Zach?
You know, if you've been following along this season, you know, we've all heard Kim and Khloé, Kourtney, they all have said many times they don't feel comfortable sharing certain things on camera anymore. So that is why the show is ending, in my opinion. We do know that there is going to be a Hulu show. It is confirmed. I've heard speculation, you know, around town. I know that they're going to be doing a Hulu show. And I feel like they're doing it because they want to have more of a private life. And I don't think the Hulu show will require the same type of openness that the E! Network show requires. So I think that's why they might be going to Hulu. Maybe also because more money. Don't they have enough money? I have no idea. But Andy's going to go there. He is definitely going to be asking them all of the questions. And that is not the question that I am dying to know out of like everything. Like, why is the show ending? The biggest question, because it's not going to be in this trailer, the biggest question I want to know is where the Kardashians stand with Jordyn Woods. That is what I'm dying to know more than anything else.
Well, Zachary, I certainly hope you get that question answered. We're going to get a lot of questions answered, though, in this reunion. Let's check out this next clip.
What people don't know is you said to me, I'm gonna put you in a car, no one will find you, just leave.
And I'll take care of it.
Wow. Do you think you owe him an apology?
Absolutely.
So, okay, you guys, I am dying to know how you interpret that conversation because I have my own theory. I think it's related to the absolute circus that was Kim's wedding to Kris Humphries. I feel like maybe she was going to be a runaway bride there for a second. Morgan, any other theories? How do you interpret this?
Yeah, I thought it was about Kris Humphries when I first watched it too. I didn't put that piece of the puzzle together, but I did when she said that she owes him an apology. You know, whenever he was on the show, he was, I don't want to say open because he didn't really like the media attention, but anytime he would say something, it would be to the fact that he doesn't deserve to go through this, like you said, Kardashian circus. You know, he kind of just got thrown to the wolves in that sense. And I know it kind of took a toll on him. So maybe that's what she means when she says that she might need to apologize to somebody, maybe him for putting him through that media scrutiny, because when you marry a Kardashian, it comes along with the territory. And if she was having doubts to then go through with the wedding and then put him through all that, the 72-day marriage, the iconic quote, must have been a lot for him. What do you think, Zach?
I don't know, because I always thought that they always named Kris Humphries as like Kim's worst ex. I feel like they've called him a jerk a few times over the years. And I know Kris Humphries has tweeted some very unkind, bitter things about the family. So I don't think that Kim would want to apologize to Kris, which is making me think that this might not be about Kris Humphries, even though I see where you guys are coming from. My first thought is that it might have been about Kanye in some capacity. But then again, that wouldn't make sense because they're not going to bring up Kanye like that. Like, this seems like they're talking about something that happened years ago. So I'm not necessarily sure. Maybe something with Lamar. I don't know if it could be with Kris, but I just don't feel like Kim would owe Kris Humphries an apology.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been so many years. I mean, 20 seasons, right? Who knows what they're talking about? But I do feel like, I mean, this to me has the vibe of we've never heard this story. And that gets me excited, right? That in this reunion, hopefully we're going to be able to look back on like iconic moments of the show that, you know, we were obsessed with and be like, oh my God, there was so much more we didn't know about. Because I do feel like the fans will absolutely live for that. One topic that I am particularly excited about is Kourtney and Scott and their relationship over the years. I mean, I myself have had so many questions for those two. Every single time I sit down and watch the show, I have a new question for Kourtney and Scott. And you guys, there are still people out there who believe in these two, who will ship them until the end of time. So I'm very excited to see those conversations, and we do have a little clip here to check out.
Do you think your relationship might have turned out differently if you hadn't shared so much of it?
Probably. Really? But I think the substance abuse was the deal breaker.
That was pretty irresponsible.
That Kim reaction is literally me. Like, I felt like when she said that, looking at her like a girlfriend and being like, oh my God, no way. I'm just really excited to see what he has to say, because I feel like it's not difficult to be Team Kourtney when it comes to Scott and Kourtney. So very curious how Scott presents himself here. Zachary, what are your thoughts? These are going to be some tough questions.
You know, I think it actually is difficult to be Team Kourtney. I personally cannot with Kourtney. We do not get along at all. I'm such a Kim or a Khloé. I live for Kim. I have no idea what Scott is going to say because, like I mentioned, I heard some tea from Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen basically said that Scott was surprised about how Andy really pries and asks questions because they're used to Ryan Seacrest, who's always asked surface level questions. It's always been that type of show. I feel like Scott doesn't do a lot of interviews. He's always been able to really avoid the reporters that are actually like nosy and know what to ask. And Andy Cohen knows what to ask. So I think Scott is going to be very taken back by the prying that Andy Cohen will be doing it, which is going to be amazing. Let's put Scott in the hot seat. Let's make Scott squiggle and squirm and seem uncomfortable because he has been so cocky for so many years. So I'm really interested to see him, a vulnerable side of him, if we can possibly get that. Morgan, I know you live for these two.
Not necessarily Scott, because you might be a Kim, but I am a Courtney. Courtney is the number one sister in my book. So I love that we have a different perspective on this. Really, what I think, hopefully, I'm hoping what we get out of this particular conversation is how many times have we heard Courtney say on this past season that she has asked Scott to do certain things in order for them to get back together, and he just hasn't done them. So the fact that we're like starting with that kind of base question, I think it's going to transition into, okay, Courtney, well, what are the things that you asked Scott to fix about himself, to work on himself that would have changed the trajectory of your guys' relationship? Because we all want to know, we speculate that it's, well, maybe he shouldn't hang out with 19-year-old girls, or maybe he should be single for a while. These are the questions that we need answers to. And I feel like Scott can't run away from this, especially with the whole family sitting there. They're going to know if he's BSing. They're going to, and Andy too, and Andy will not have it. So I can't wait. Hopefully we finally get some answers about how Courtney's feeling about all of it and how Scott is feeling about it.
Yeah, and hopefully Andy asks him why he continuously dates 19-year-olds, because I cannot help but judge some of his recent choices. But that's not important right now, because in this next clip, they are going to be asking Scott about Travis and Courtney, which is just as interesting. So let's check that out.
So do Courtney and Travis have your blessing?
I mean, if his face doesn't just say it all. Morgan, I know you love Courtney and Travis, so what are your thoughts on this moment?
You know what? Sorry, Scott, but you snooze, you lose. You've had 15 years to get your act together. I don't feel sorry for you at all. And I don't necessarily love this question from Andy. I guess I don't love the way that it's phrased, because they don't need Scott's blessing. They're going to do whatever they want regardless. I think I would have rather heard Andy say, what are your feelings about Courtney and Travis? That way he could really be honest, instead of being like, because even if he doesn't like them together, surely he's going to say, yeah, they have my blessing. Just like that too. And have that be the end of it. Because he's going to say, if Court's happy, I'm happy. When we know that's not really the truth. So I would have liked to see the question worded a little bit different. I don't know. I'm curious, Zach, would you rather have Courtney get back with Scott, or are you team Kravis?
I want Courtney to get back with Scott, even though I cannot with Scott and I cannot with Courtney. And I know how much Morgan stands Kravis. And you know what? The thing about Kravis, Courtney and Travis, is they look really happy together, like genuinely happy. So I'm all here for that. Love is love. So if they're happy together and they're in love, it's so obvious. But this face says it all. Scott is so jealous. You can see it in his eyes. He has his 19-year-old girlfriend as a distraction so he doesn't drive himself crazy that Courtney's now in love with someone else. So I am glad that Andy asked the question, do you have the approval? Because this is going to get the reaction out of Scott that we want, because this is the jealous face. We see it in his eyes.
Yeah, these two are just so complicated. I mean, I'm all for a will they, won't they in everything, whether it's in life, a sitcom, a movie. Like, there's something so exciting about that, right? But with them, I'm like, you're not even will they, won't they. It's like just so far past that at this point that I am very curious to see where this conversation goes, because I used to be a firm believer in, oh, one day, Scott's going to grow up, they're going to mature, they're going to get back together. It's going to be such a, crazy ending to their story. But now I just don't know. So very interested to see where this conversation goes. If it changes my opinion on Scott and Kourtney together. There is going to be more to this reunion though than just Kourtney and Scott. So we're going to move on. Andy's going to keep asking the tough questions. Let's check out the next clip.
When Tristan first cheated on you, how did you know it will be done again?
So, first Kourtney and Scott, now Khloé and Tristan. I mean, you might get that Jordyn Woods question after all, Zachary. It feels like nothing is off limits. I mean, what do you hope to hear from this conversation? Because Khloé's journey of late, I mean, my heart just goes out to her because she's been through a lot.
You know, I'm just so far living for this trailer so far. We're breaking it down very slowly, but like, I know all of us are on the same page. We're just gushing over this. This is such good television that hasn't happened yet. I really want Khloé to explain her process of why she took Tristan back and what was like the moment where she realized where she was going to put everything behind her, and if she knew that he might have been cheating on her, if she fully trusted him. Does she actually love him, or is she just with him because she wants to have another baby with him and she can't find anyone else because we're in a pandemic and there's not that many options as a Kardashian? She can't trust people. Like, there are so many questions. I feel like Khloé is going to be so honest because she is so real, in my opinion. Out of the whole family, she's one of the most authentic and she really shares with us. So, Khloé, please tell us everything. Morgan, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I really hope that Khloé takes this opportunity to set her record straight because she really hasn't for the most part. You know, anytime that there's been a cheating scandal involving Tristan and another woman, she hasn't really made any big public statements. She kind of has just buried her head in the sand, dealt with it on a personal level, but it's left a lot of fans like scratching our heads, like watching them this season, you know, be stuck in quarantine together and they're best friends. And it's like, well, wait a second, what's going on now? Because he cheated on you while you were giving birth to your first child. Like, what?
Mhm.
What happened between point A and point Z where we are now? So I feel like this is her opportunity to tell her story, to kind of maybe get us back on board with Tristan. Tell us what you guys have been doing. Have you been going to couples therapy? Has he kind of changed his ways and matured? We need to know. And this is Khloé's chance to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything you just said, Morgan, is like top of my list. If I had a Kardashian reunion wish list, all of that would be on there because I really do love Khloé. And if she's happy, I want to be happy for her, but I also want to understand, you know, I'm too invested. We do have one last clip here, one final tease. So let's get to this one as well.
Chris, have you forgiven Caitlyn for how she treated you?
So Chris does not get off scot-free. He's asking the tough Caitlyn questions. This is going to be really interesting, I feel like, because of course we've seen Chris be vulnerable over the years. I mean, she's a Kardashian along with the rest of them. Her whole life has been, you know, subject to the show. But I can't think of the last time we've really gotten a very raw, vulnerable, you know, Chris confession. So I'm pretty excited for this moment, even though, I mean, you can see it on her face. It does look like it's going to be difficult to talk about. I'm ready to hear it. Morgan, how do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like their situation is kind of the same as Khloé and Tristan, where she'll say enough to get people off her back, but won't really come out and say all the details that we want to know. And it's strange because, like, you know, we've seen the kids grill Caitlyn about what she has said about Chris, you know, but we've never really seen Chris and Caitlyn sit down and kind of hash it out. And I don't think that we ever will, but I think this will be the closest we get to like what those conversations were like between the two of them. What do you think, Zach?
I mean, I feel like Chris and Caitlyn have actually moved on. You know, that happened 6-7 years ago. Caitlyn has been on this season a couple times. You know, Chris was giving her advice on how to start her YouTube channel. So I think that they have moved on. I think that Chris handled it like a G. She was very mature. I'm more curious what's going on with Chris and her 40-year-old boyfriend, Corey Gamble, because that relationship has always made zero sense to me. Are they in love? Are they just like, is it a business thing? Like, is it a transactional thing? Like, I'm more curious about that relationship. So I hope that Andy asks a little bit about that. I feel like Caitlyn and Chris are in a good place, but I also want Chris to be able to speak about the Caitlyn issue because Caitlyn did her dirty in regards to everything that she kind of blamed, she put on Chris. But I also really like respect and support Caitlyn's journey. But I hope that Kris can just kind of get her thoughts out in her chest because it was a huge moment in the show.
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of truths are going to be spoken on that stage, you guys. There is so much to look forward to, and the wait is almost over. The 2-part reunion is going to be airing Thursday, June 17th, and then again on Sunday, June 20th. So it's 2 parts, 2 episodes, you guys. A lot of content and conversations to look forward to for sure. We want to know your thoughts on this teaser and, of course, what conversation you're looking forward to the most. So let us know down in the comments. And if you are not already subscribed, make sure you do. Make sure you ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future Kardashian updates. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring, joined by the wonderful Morgan Wright and Zachary Reality. If you want to come say hi, check out our socials. They are on the screen right now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.